Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Clifford Berger and I help men rebrand themselves for success in midlife. I have a blog and a website devoted to that I call A Seasoned Life, and you can visit that at cliffordberger.com as well as find some of my content here on my YouTube channel. I provide different perspectives and resources on what it means to go through the seasons as we age and how to be successful in framing ourselves and presenting ourselves as adult men in a way that is most successful and positive. And recently I did a post on my website called Why Are Levels of Buildings Called Stories? Because I got to thinking about that. That's so interesting that we refer to the first, the second, third floor of a building as a story. What's behind that? Not too long ago, several years ago, I had a chance with a colleague that I work with to visit the Empire State Building in New York City. And it's like 102 stories, something like that. And I think, well, the Empire State Building actually probably has more stories than that, if you want to think in terms of the things that have happened there, the stories that are told. It's made its way even into pop culture with uh, films like uh, Sleepless in Seattle with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan meeting at the top of the Empire State Building. Or much earlier than that, King Kong, where this giant ape climbs up the Empire State Building and he's holding this beautiful blonde while airplanes buzz around the building. Uh, all kinds of things, fictional and real, have happened at the Empire State Building. And that got me to thinking, why do we call stories or refer to stories as the levels of a building? Well, there are various theories on that, and you'll actually have to visit my blog post on my website to get all those. I don't want to go into that kind of detail right now, but the historical background of that, there's some interesting views on um, how we, how and why we've arrived at calling those stories. But it just got me to thinking, our lives are kind of like that, aren't they? Our lives have stories. Our lives have levels and layers. We could call them stories, and how we narrate those stories, how we narrate ourselves and who we are and present them to others, we are actually in charge of that. We can create the narrative that we want to create. We can tell the story that we want to tell in our overall ethos of how we present ourselves. That includes our presence, our voice, our appearance, the way we dress, every aspect of who we are and how we come across is part of what I call our ethos, our presentation ethos. And it matters because people will make a judgment and an assessment about us within seconds, usually, of meeting us in terms of what they assume about us and how we come across, certain things that they can already decide about us. So the the key is to control that narrative rather than have it be controlled by others. So the point I want to make here is just simply learn how to tell your own story rather than have that story be told by someone else. Learn how to narrate the the story that you want to be told as you engage in different areas of your life, your business, your work, your vocation, your family, people you meet by happenstance. Um, all of that matters and is part of the the story and the narration we create. In my blog post, I talk about ways that we can archive that story for posterity, even for our um, children, our grandchildren, other family members who may want to know more about us once we pass from the scene. Because by the time we are in midlife, we get to the point where we're thinking about the legacy we create. One of the suggestions that I have is that we think about writing our own memoirs. Sometimes people assume that you have to be a celebrity or someone famous to do that. The case that I make is that anyone can write their memoirs and at least start to write down some narration about themselves, ourselves, and the story we want to tell, some incidents from our past in different years, segments of our lifetime that we want to leave behind. So I give some more information on that in a post on my website as well called Why You Should Write Your Own Memoirs. So visit my website for that specific content as well. So that covers about what I wanted to talk about today. This whole idea of story and narration and how it applies to our lives. So I hope that gives you something to think about. And with that, I will leave you and see you in the next video.